Well, Rob, you are the first person to record with me in my new setup, which is very much like my old setup, just in a different state entirely.
Right, yeah. I mean, it's very, as you say, it's very much the same. It's the same desk. I'm guessing it's the same chair, but you are. I don't know. I don't know America. It could be 10 miles away. It could be 1,000 miles. I have no idea.
Well, I don't actually know how far it is. It was like a 12-hour drive, maybe. So pretty far south and east. The setup's a little different. I moved my computer from one side of the desk to the other, which is, I know, really exciting news. I also have my studio display, which as I think I've mentioned on the show, I had ordered, and it was scheduled to arrive very close to my move, and I started getting nervous that it would come after my move, which would be no good. Plus, even if it came really close to my move, I wouldn't have much time to enjoy it, and I wouldn't want to unbox it anyhow. And it's a huge box. So I ended up changing the destination and having it delivered to my brother's house because he lives not too far away. And so it sat down at his, it actually ended up coming earlier than anticipated and sat at his house for a month. But when I came down here, before I could get the keys to the apartment that we're renting, I stayed a night with him, picked up the studio display, and brought it back, and it's all set up now. And I got to tell you, that studio display is amazing. I mean, I noticed it immediately when I turned it on and fired it up. Just from the screensaver, the colors were more vibrant, and it was sharper. It's just, it's designed for the resolution of the operating system, and just looks really good. And it's like I kind of feel like with displays like I do about my chair, that I'm going to be sitting in this chair for hours and hours every day, and I'm going to be staring at the screen for hours and hours every day. So I'm kind of glad that I have a nice one. And besides just looking good, the speakers sound pretty good. And because it has some USB-C, ports in it, I can kind of get rid of some of the messy connections I had before. I mean, I've simplified my setup quite a bit between this display and the Mac Studio. Those two things together have more than enough ports for me to handle all the different things that I use from time to time. What I haven't done yet, and I almost did it before we started recording, was to plug this MacBook Air that I'm recording on, because it's got Monterey on it and I can still use Audio Hijack with it, unlike Ventura, which is on the Mac Studio. I thought about connecting this directly, the Air, to the studio display while the Mac Studio was also connected to it, to see what would happen. And I decided against it because I wasn't sure what would happen. Which one would control, or where's the setting where I would figure out which display was being mirrored. I'm sure it can handle it, but didn't want to do that for the first go of it. I figured I'd just record from this MacBook Air, which I've been doing quite a lot recently, because of traveling and other things, and it's perfectly capable of recording a show.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's very. Thing is, all these monitors, like all the really nice ones, are really expensive.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't justify one until today, until I saw this article. So Sony have announced, I think, what they're calling it, InZone, I think is their brand.
I think so, yeah.
And they've announced it's a 27-inch 4K monitor. They sort of, essentially they're claiming it's sort of designed for the PS5. And, presumably it would do the same for the Xbox Series X. 144 hertz refresh rate, variable refresh rate, DisplayPort, HDMI, all the stuff that you'd want. And it looks really nice. Like the stand is sort of styled like the PS5, which, in all honesty, is kind of an ugly console. But the monitor looks really good, and it's like $900, which really isn't that bad for the spec that they're offering with it.
No, it really isn't. Does it have Thunderbolt 2 also on the back of it? I don't remember. I remember reading this article, but it's funny.
No, it also has USB-C, but it doesn't have Thunderbolt, as far as I can tell.
Right. But it can probably run the video over the USB-C. I don't know. But in any event, In any event, it's funny that you mentioned this because I know from talking to Federico on last week's App Stories Plus segment that he has been looking for a display that he can use that will be easy to switch back and forth between a Mac, an iPad, and a gaming PC. And this actually is one of the first displays I've seen that probably can do that with good specs. I mean, that's one of the things that's hard about it. I mean, he could probably use some others that have multiple Thunderbolt connections and just do like Thunderbolt to HDMI or a Thunderbolt to DisplayPort or something like that. But I think this is exactly what he was looking for too, because it's really geared towards gaming, and I know that they do specifically call out the PS5, but it also will work well with the Xbox Series X and S, I believe, as well as, just your typical desktop PCs and Macs. So it's a very nice looking display. And if I didn't have this studio display, this would be one that would be very high on my list.
Yeah, I'm definitely considering this because I've been looking at this for a while, and it's probably not something that's going to happen anytime soon, but I have been looking for a monitor, and I can sort of replace my monitor and my TV for all the stuff I use in my office. And there was a previous one that I found. I can't remember the brand. I can't remember anything about it. But it seemed like it was the best one that you could get. That was like $1,000 or something. So this being $900 is, pretty decent.
Is it an Alienware one that you were looking at? Because I know that they have a couple of models that are considered just about top of the game for gaming PC monitors.
Yeah, I think that does ring a bell, but I know I've got it in a note somewhere. But
yeah,
God knows where I've put that note. I'm sure it's written down somewhere. It's
it is really interesting that Sony all of a sudden has come out with this, because this is the kind of thing that I would typically expect to see at CES in January, because so much gaming hardware news comes out with that show. And this is just kind of dropped in the middle of the beginning of the summer, which, I guess, fake E3 was the last couple of weeks ago or so, but it's sort of strange timing. And in addition to this display, they also announced some what look like very nice headphones. They're huge headphones, those kind of giant cans you put on the side of your head. Mm-hmm. But supposedly, at least according to the Verge article that I saw, very, very comfortable, very good quality sound and noise cancellation. Because Sony's makes some of the best noise canceling headphones around. So probably same tech in there as some of their wireless headphones, but these headphones are geared towards gaming as opposed to just music. So it's,
mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's something to keep an eye on. I think Sony does a great job with most of its hardware, and this all looks like very premium level stuff for people who are into not just gaming, but just want to have a really good computer display.
Yeah, definitely. Pretty much as soon as we've finished recording and I've edited, I'm going to be digging in a little bit more, see what the price translates to, if it's even
mm-hmm.
available in the UK. I will have a look at these headphones as well, but we're really display heavy, because the next thing we were going to mention is TVs, because I'm with Prime Day coming up. I am in the market for a new TV, because we have a 40-inch TV right now,
mm-hmm.
Which was great in our old house because it had a very small living room. The new house has a much larger living room, and our 40-inch TV looks tiny.
Yeah.
So we're going to jump up to 60, maybe 65, depending on what comes up in the offers. I think I'm just gonna play it by ear and see what happens, see what comes up on Prime Day, which I think is in a couple of weeks.
It is. I think it's on the 12th. I thought of waiting till Prime Day, but I pulled the trigger on an LG OLED C2 TV, 55-inch
mm-hmm.
one. Now, we've never had a TV that large in our living room, and our apartment is not huge, but we did have a 55-inch LCD TV in our basement that was used primarily for gaming. It was just like a 1080p TV, and we've had that since we moved into this apartment. sitting in the living room, and it hasn't been too big. And that, because it's an older TV, has pretty big bezels on it and kind of a chunky stand. And I think the LG will actually look smaller, even though the screen is the same size. And LG has a really good reputation for the quality of their TVs. They've been making great ones for a long time, especially OLED, longer than really anybody else. And there are some really nice gaming features built into this TV too. So I'm looking forward to it as a way to both just watch TV, of course, and also with the PS5 and the Xbox. Now, I've been doing a lot more of my gaming handheld these days, but I still like to have the option to hook up to the TV and play that way. And I think with a larger TV, because the TV that we left behind when we moved in our living room was smaller. I forget if it was 45 or 50, but it was in that range. And I think this bigger screen TV plus the being slightly closer to it because it's a smaller room will actually be a better experience, especially since one of the things I noticed with the smaller TV that was 1080p was that it was very hard in some games to read the text because the text, the text was too small to begin with, probably smaller than it should be, but it was also not entirely crisp because it was a 1080p TV and it was a smaller TV, which made the situation even worse. So I'm hoping that this will be not only good for just the quality of the games and the smooth frame rates and great colors and everything, but also a little easier on my eyes in terms of reading.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like you say, the text thing is really a problem. So yeah, hopefully this fixes the problem. But yeah, I totally agree with you. Like it handheld is fine. I mean, I'm not a massive fan of it, but I do get it. But you're right. Like sometimes it's nice to just sit in front of a big TV and play these nice games.
No, it's true. And you know what? I got a handheld just last night, Rob, that I'm going to play tonight. I picked up Portal and Portal 2 on the Switch. Because why shouldn't I just keep buying the same games over and over and over again over the years? But it was only $20, and I think it'll look really nice on the OLED screen of the Switch. And that game, I think, will be kind of fun to play portable on the Switch.
Yeah, definitely. So there was I don't know what it is. Was it a Nintendo Direct?
I think it's called
one of these indie ones. I don't know.
No, it was not an indie one either. They have different flavors of these. It was a Nintendo Direct. Well, I forget the exact terminology, but it's third-party partners is what they is for third-party games only.
Yeah, so I had a little look through an article like I always do after the things happened. The only thing that really jumped out at me was the Mario Rabbids game. I think is coming out 20th of September or October, I think. And I really enjoyed the first one, so I'm definitely going to be getting this.
Yeah, it looks like there's some interesting mechanics. They explained a little bit more how it works and what you can do because there's more freedom of movement, even though it's still kind of a turn-based battle game.
Yeah, it does look like a lot of fun. I mean, I spent an inordinate amount of hours on the first game. I played through the first game and then I played through again to get a lot of the the additional bonuses you can get and stuff like that. And then the DLC came out and I did the same with that one as well. The DLC was a lot harder than the main game, but but yeah, I'm really looking forward to digging into this new one.
The first one never really clicked with me, but I might have to give it another try because I don't know why it didn't really stick with me, but yeah, it does. This new one looks really nice.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't a lot else in the Direct that I was particularly interested in. There's a lot of, it seems to be Nintendo's standard fare at the moment, a lot of sort of remasters of games either that are like from the Japanese market that I've never heard of.
JRPG type stuff.
Just... Right, yeah, there's a lot of that, which, it's understandable, that's kind of Nintendo's thing, but... there wasn't a lot else exciting going on there that I could find.
No, it didn't do a lot for me either. I mean, people were excited about Persona, I think. The fact that Persona 5, there's that. But I've never really played a Persona game. I'm curious about it, but I didn't really see much in that Direct that really caught my eye either. Although I really liked the art style of that game that's about the deer and the baby wolf. I forget the name of it, but it's done in a black and white cartoon style art style that really looks great. And I mean, I don't know really anything about the game other than it really had a striking and different look to it that I thought might be fun to play.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, there's certainly there's no shortage of interesting looking games. Sort of, from Nintendo and from everyone really. Like, there's so many interesting ways that, especially indie developers, are sort of tackling these sort of smaller games. These aren't AAA games that all have to look, these huge open worlds, but there is a lot of interesting things happening. And the same with like Cuphead and things like that, where people just do sort of unique and unusual things with the games to kind of make them a bit more appealing.
I wish Cuphead was just a little bit more approachable, because that's a very hard game. and as much as I like the style and have enjoyed trying it, I never get far enough before I get frustrated to really play it a lot. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. I played a little bit at a friend's house, and I was like, yeah, this looks nice and this is fun, but this is far too frustrating for my liking, and I won't be buying it, unfortunately.
Yeah, same here. Same here. I learned my lesson. I've got Cuphead if I wanted to, beat my head against the wall and try to make some more progress past level 1 or something again, but it's really difficult.
Yeah, exactly. But have you got anything else? Because I think we've had a lot of display heavy stuff, a couple of bits of games.
yeah. No, I think that's it for me. I don't really have, since I just moved in, I haven't really been playing many games. I haven't been watching much TV. I will note that the new Apple TV Plus show Loot is quite good. There are only 3 episodes. There are only 3 episodes out so far, and I watched all 3 last night and liked them a lot. Maybe making an appearance on Mac Stories Unwind as a pick at some point. But yeah, that's it for me, because I'm still moving in.
I was going to say, you've moved halfway across the country, so
yes.
I think we can all let you off on not having done too much else except that.
All right.
I'll speak to you later.
Thanks. Bye.